Coach, last season we saw how much home court can swing a series. Harkening back to that, when you look back at that, what did you see swing from games 1 and 2 last year to games 3 and 4?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of similarities. I think game one in Cleveland lost by 14. Game one in Boston lost by 17. Game two you lose by 10 in Cleveland, you lose by 9 in Boston. So I think there's the similarities there, score-wise, but the energy of the crowd, the being able to be at home, sleep in your own bed, get your practice reps here in our building, in our facility, and then just our home crowd. And we know exactly how energized they are for us to be back home.
Piggybacking off of that home crowd, like you talked about, just last year, what do you remember that kind of just set the tone, and how do you want to see that again going into this game?
I don't talk about game 3 as much because I just really remember game 6 more than anything. The energy from the crowd, the enthusiasm of the game, knowing it was a must-get game, and the way our guys responded, the way our fans responded, the way they got behind our guys. That energizes this group. The way in which they're able to feed off the energy and the way in which they play, that does something for the home team.
All down to how much incentive is there for you guys to do alterations to your rotation or schemes or anything like that?
I think it just continues to be a chess match. With Tatum being out one game, it changes a lot of things, and there's some similarities to last year in just the adjustments of certain guys being in, certain guys being out. But we'll look at it as the game goes on, being able to get a real game feel, who's got a great flow going, and what we need to see, and what we'll need to see from certain guys as they step into the game.
Kind of harkening back on last year's experience, how do you see this team handling the pressure of being down 2-0 differently from last year?
Well, there's a resolve to them that they understand they've been here before, and you can actually say that because we've been in an identical situation. So a different team, obviously, and you're facing the champions, but understanding exactly what you need to do to get yourself out from being down 2-0.
Paul was only able to play 5 minutes in game 2. Just how difficult has this series been for him, and how do you get more out of him on the floor?
We talk about it a ton. He and I sat together in my office yesterday just breaking down film, understanding some different pieces and how important he is in these situations. And he understands and just what he means to this team and how he knows he needs to play and continue to be fearless in all of his decision making, both offensively and defensively.
How do you evaluate your team, how well your team has utilized the skills KCP has on offense in the first 2 games of the series, and what can you guys do to get him to help him be more productive?
Well, I ultimately think that, finding the right looks and great situations for him and just letting him be able to continue to step in with confidence in what he's doing. His defensive energy has been great, the way he's getting into the ball, getting over screens. They talk about some hits that he's received, on some screens getting over in the pick and roll. So that I think he's done a great job of, battling that, but then also being able to, find the open windows when those guys are double teaming Paolo or Franz.
When you look at the film from game 1 and 2, how small were the margins? How close was this to being 1-1 or a different story coming home?
Super close. I think those are the scenarios that we talked about, throughout this year for this group. There's a tiny margin, whether that's free throw count, defending without fouling, finishing possessions with the rebound, making sure we don't give them 20-second chance points in one game and 17 in another. We've got to make sure we clean up the glass and give ourselves that opportunity by crashing the glass.
I know you guys talked about they did what they're supposed to do. 2 up there, now you got to do here. But at what point does that become pressure? This is real. It's time.
When the home team loses.
Hey,
Not
Coach,
yet.
so Paolo is playing really good this season, but you look at the bench, you got to get some more production there. Does that start early in the game? Do you just try to get more guys involved early, or is it just like a flow kind of thing?
It's a flow. It's definitely a flow. And throughout the year, guys have had different opportunities. Different guys step up and step in. And by committee is how we do things. And finding guys to get their opportunity in those moments. And like we talk about, these guys don't need to have any fear when they step into the game. We have the utmost confidence in what they're capable of doing as soon as they step into the game.
In terms of injuries, aside from Mo and Jalen, who you know are out, how are you guys doing there?
We are physically in a great space right now.
Mentally, how's that?
What's that?
Mentally, how's that?
Mentally, we are in a great space right now.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Kenny, just how good is it to feel? How good is it to be home now?
Oh man, it feels great. It's a lot of joy here. Like, just always feel good to be home, lay in your own bed, be around family. I think we just, excited just to be home, get the home energy, home crowd, and just ready to put on the show.
What a review of the first two games and you guys about this series so far.
We played well, offensively and defensively. Some shots not falling. Defensively, we had some mistakes that cost us. But I think we got the game plan down, and then adjustment in game 3.
You guys had kind of these ups and downs shooting wise. How do you, and especially when the stakes are this high and there's this pressure? How do you kind of push through that and still kind of keep the faith and do those things?
Just keep shooting, keep making the right play. We put 2 on the ball, just find the open guy. I think the more we continue to do that, trusting each other, I think the shooting, it will go start to make shots. And start to find some easy looks too.
Can being at home be something like that lifts those spirits, like you
For sure. Like I said earlier, like being home, is gonna definitely give a lot of confidence, to us, as far as shooting the ball offensively, defensively, being a little bit more aggressive, getting that energy from the crowd. I think it's gonna be great for us.
You guys have gone into halftime in good positions. What do you think about the way you guys have started the third quarter as both games?
It's been a problem for us, all season. And that's one thing we truly have to fix, especially right now in these playoffs, especially game 3 as well. And we just gotta come out with whatever it may be, a little bit more focus, get out of the locker room, out of film early, get shots up, go to teams that we reviewed in the locker room with one of the coaches or whatever it may be. We definitely got to come out prepared for the third quarter.
Why do you think that can suddenly change now?
What else?
Why do you think, you mentioned it's been a problem the whole season. Why do you think now things can click coming out of half?
I think just starting the third quarter is, I think it's big, in this playoffs. Like throughout the regular season, that's the time when you might be up 20, you might be down 20. How you gonna come out of the locker room with what type of energy you gonna come out with? And I think for us, it just we come out a little bit slower than normal, and then it picks back up. But I think we got to come out and start, the third quarter how we start the games.
What did you make of your shot selections, the shots you got in game 2?
Great. They were great shots. Most of them I was open, some was contested. They just didn't go down. I'm continuing to shoot the ball at a high clip, especially when I'm open, and they just still make the right play.
Kenny, at what point? I know you guys talked about Boston held serve. They did what they're supposed to do. Now we got to do it But at what point is it like there's some pressure here? Like we got to get this done.
Yeah, we definitely got to get it done. We down 2-0. We don't feel the pressure, but it is pressure. But we're home, and we're gonna feed off that. And we come here to take care of home.
What did you make of the crowd reaction in Boston to you?
I had that before. So they like getting a little booze. I must be doing something right. It was fun. Like just a little bit more energy for me. I wish I had knock down some shots. It would have been a lot better. But I try to do everything possible to try to get a win for my team. And if I'm not making shots, I do defend at a high level. And that's what I've been focused.
Should they call more plays for you where you're coming off a screen and maybe get some more catch and shoot opportunities?
I would love that for sure. But like for me, it's just finding my open spaces, being ready to shoot when Paulo, Fern, or like anybody create for us. That's one thing I've done, my whole career, just being a 3 and D guy and being ready to shoot.
Shooters had games like they had last night. Something we usually have kind of some rough shooting set. What's your process to like kind of shake that off and move on in this game?
Just let it go. For me, it's talking to my family, my friends, just about the game, what they see. They might see something a little different. But for me, just trying to forget about it. I can't do well on like what I did game 2. Game 3 is here today, and I gotta be prepared.
What have you made of the way that Caldwell-Pope has played through this first offense?
They played great. Like I said, man, them guys, they create a lot for us offensively. And we need them guys a lot. You know, to continue to do that. Continue to put two guys on the ball and then find open up.
How do you think the team adjusted to the defensive pressure of Boston from game 1 to game 2?
I think we adjusted well. You know, I feel like the pressure was the same from game 1 to game 2 for us. I feel like we haven't even played at our best. I feel like we can turn it up a little bit more. Like tonight is what we're gonna show that, I think.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.